What's up YouTube, Capital G here. Got a nice little quick duel for you guys to check out. We have a hieratic guard dragon build at the bottom. I've talked about this numerous times on this channel, but just about every dragon deck is going to see a significant boost in play and really explosiveness when Savage Strike is released into TCG. That is because of the guard dragons and because you get the ability to pull Red Eyes Metal Darkness out of your deck, and then from there you can reborn it a bunch of times, and then you have that monster reborn a whole bunch of monsters. Now, hieratics used to be able to do this before because of their Sea monster, like the King Dragon of Tomb, so it was never really a big deal for them to be able to pull Red Eyes from the deck, but all the other dragon archetypes, they didn't have that ability, so they're all kind of, they're benefiting in a major way. Then we have Relinquish Invoke at the top, and I say it all the time, I think Relinquish is one of the most fun decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! To play. If you've never played Relinquish, I mean, you're not gonna win a ton with the deck, but it's so fucking fun. It is, it's always reminiscent of Prediction Princess. I always mention that deck when I talk about decks that are a little more casual, but incredibly fun to play. So, it's a better deck going second, generally because you do play Kaijus. He's playing the Invoked engine, so you're probably not gonna see any Kaijus in here, and you can see that after Needle Fiber, you basically want to start going into the guard dragon link monsters and then pulling out Red Eyes from your deck. Goes for Saryuja Skull Dread. This is just for the link points at this point. You just want to be able to get Red Eyes in the grave, constantly reborn it, gets a Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, goes for Boral Sword Dragon. This is an okay turn one field. I've seen significantly better. If he would have had any extenders like Monster Reborn or Soul Charge, you probably would have seen even more big dragon monsters on the board. Maybe something like, well, no, he didn't have any tuners, right? I was gonna say Borload Savage Dragon. Did he have any tuners? I don't think we saw any tuners. No, oh my goodness, I'm trolling. Galaxy Serpent is a tuner. Oh my goodness, he had a low level too. So yeah, if you would have had extenders there, you almost certainly would have saw Borload Savage Dragon for another negation. But this field is not, well, it's okay. I mean, it does have the Boral Sword Dragon, which is kind of like a level of interaction against your opponent, but your hard interaction is really your Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. And Relinquish can generally wreck a board like this, because if you Kaiju then Ritual Summon, you get rid of the Crystal Wing, it's pretty much a wrap from there. But he is going to go a little bit of a different route. He goes for the instant fusion and brings out Millenniumize Restrict. Now, this was just straight up smart Yu-Gi-Oh! He is going to Jebait his opponent incredibly hard here. He summons the Alistair the Invoker. He wants it to be negated. What he's trying to do is force the activation of Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. His opponent plays right into it, and that means he can activate the Millenniumize Restrict because his opponent activated a card on the field. He can actually suck that monster up, and then the way the chain resolves, the Crystal Wing is actually going to be negated because this guy will negate the effects of any monster that he has equipped. So this is Chain Link 2, and since it resolves before the Crystal Wing on board, by the time Crystal Wing tries to activate, it's already equipped to the Millenniumize Restrict, and it's going to be negated. So he basically kind of like Jebaited his opponent into trying to negate his Alistair, and he ends up losing his monster and losing his negation too. So he actually gets him really good there. He's going to try digging deeper into his deck. Now, here's one thing that I noticed. He didn't go in the Link Karibo. I think that he did that so that he would be able to summon his faceless magician, which he probably wanted this on board. If he would have went for Link Karibo, he would not have had the option. Plus, I looked through his extra deck and he doesn't play Link Karibo, which I found fascinating. I'm like, what? I don't get why he doesn't play Link Karibo, but he doesn't. Now, since Faceless dies, he is able to summon his Millenniumize Restrict back. I have no idea why he summoned it in attack position. That didn't make any sense at all when your opponent has a Boral Sword Dragon on the field that can attack twice, so don't ask me why he did that. Basically taking 1400 damage that he did not have to take. He could have summoned it in defense mode, and it wouldn't have changed anything except the amount of damage that he took, but luckily he's able to top deck into that Forged Burial. This is very important because first he's going to go for Invoke Merkaba, but now if he can actually summon another Relinquish, or if he can summon a Millenniumize Restrict, he can actually recover the card that he just actually sent to the graveyard with Foolish Burial. He can actually recover this Illusionist, which is just really nice. It's like a really nice card that can snatch through your opponent's cards. Goes for Apprentice Witchling, and then he uses Predaplane Engine to get Relinquish Fusion. You're probably not used to seeing this play. Most people just use it for Brilliant Fusion, but what this is going to do, the Relinquish Fusion can activate from the graveyard. Well, he added the Illusionist to his hand, and then he can actually take one of his opponent's monsters and equipped it. Now, Boros Dragon definitely saved him here. He's going to use the Illusionist in his hand, take the Saryuja Skull Dread, and he has lost all of his powerful monsters. And think about if he would have been able to take, or if he would have taken 6,300 to the face, he would have only had about 1,100 life points. Now, I don't agree with him negating the White Dragon. I don't really see how big of a deal the White Dragon could be, even though his opponent is top decking. Would you guys have rather just saved the card? I just would have saved the card, because you never know when your opponent's going to top deck that one monster. I mean, there are a lot of crazy top decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot of one monster like Link 2s and a lot of one monster Link rank 4 Exceeds that could, you know, potentially save your opponent. But luckily his opponent top decks a Dragon Shrine, and he doesn't have a one monster extra deck play that could end up getting him back in the duel. But you know, it was just a nice little duel involving a whole bunch of fusion summoning and a good amount of link summoning that got basically countered by the fusion summoning. So we'll pause for one quick second and we'll check out this deck. All right, so this is what the deck looks like on paper. Now, personally, I wouldn't play something like this. Like, I wouldn't play a relinquished build that also involves invoke, because when I look at this deck, I kind of see way too many normal summons. Like, if you open turn 1, do I want to normal summon Armageddon Knights? Do I want to get the invoked engine going? Do I want to go for the Predator Plane engine, where I know I'm going to have to either normal summon, you know, Ortho Scorpio or Lone Fire Blossom? Like, to me, it's just way too many normal summons in this deck. But I guess at the same time, you could say that that always guarantees that he should open up with a power summon. I guess that the Armageddon Knight is mainly going to send one of these two to the graveyard, your Illusionist cards. This one can be summoned from the graveyard, this one can be added to your hand, and then you can take one of your opponent's monsters and equip it. So I think that that's fine. I personally like to run Relinquish more with like Kaijus to kind of like counteract my opponent's big boss monsters, and really use my normal summons on like Kinkabuyo and maybe like Manju Sanju, those type of cards. But you know, to each its own. The spell lineup is you know, pretty standard. We saw the instant fusion used with Millennium Azure Strix. Obviously this deck is dark, and once you get your first copy of Armageddon Knight, the second copy and third copy probably not that important. So you know, use things like a Lord Darkness to dig deeper into your deck. You know, since you're running invoked, you're going to need at least a couple of invocations and magical meltdowns to get to your Alistair. And then the other cards are just, you know, basic cards like Pre-Preparation of Rites. Rhoda gets Armageddon Knight. Rhoda is okay. For some reason I was thinking that Alistair was a warrior. I'm just being crazy here, but the spell lineup is pretty, like, I think that it's pretty self-explanatory for the most part. I don't even really know if you need the Called by the Grave, because, well, no, I guess you do, because like every single one of these normal summons can be Ash. Like, this card can be Ash, this one can be Ash, this card can be Ash, and then like Ash just probably destroys this deck. Same thing with like Effect Veiler too. So I guess you really need the Called by the Grave to make sure that your normal summon goes off in this deck, as it's so important.